Now, I don't care what argument anyone tries to make to the contrary, No Escape is a horror movie. So, that's the movie that I went to see last night, and in this film, Owen Wilson plays a father named Jack who has traveled to some part of Asia with his family, and I don't quite know which country it is. I just know it's one of the ones that borders Vietnam, but while they're down there, these riots start to break out, and Jack immediately discovers that he and his family are in mortal danger. Like, they're not just innocent bystanders who need to stay out of the way. These rioters are after their blood because they hate foreigners. So, once again, I would solidly place this in the horror genre because it is one of the most terrifying films I've seen this year by far. And I don't know how many of you have seen this little movie called Severance, but if you would consider that to be a horror movie, then so is No Escape. I mean, there were quite a few moments where I could feel myself just physically tensing up as I was watching this, and my heart was pounding in my chest. I even put my fingers up here at one point, and I could feel that vein pounding. Um, and there are people out there who like to make the argument that it's not a horror movie unless it's got blood and violence, and this one does pull through with that quite a bit. The violence is pretty hard hitting, and it's not very pleasant to watch. And Owen Wilson gives a great performance as this very likable character. Even as the stakes are being raised and he and his family need to find shelter. There are a couple of moments where the action kind of slows down a bit and he starts to throw in some dad humor. And it's not forced or out of place in any way. It just feels like, a father who's trying to make his children feel a little bit better in this horrible situation. And, the two child actors who play his daughters in this movie do a really good job as well. There was one point where the characters started to get on my nerves, but it is in a way that a couple of actual kids would do this in real life. They're just responding as real children would. They don't go over the top like Dakota Fanning did in War of the Worlds or anything like that. And, Pierce Brosnan is in this movie too, and he does a really good job. He's just as charismatic as usual. But, getting into sort of the negatives of this movie, he was the only character in the film who just felt like a movie character, whereas everyone else felt like an actual person. He kind of stands out like a sore thumb to me. And during the final act of the movie, I could see exactly where his character was going to go, like just beat for beat. And, whereas most of the movie felt very visceral and intense and scary, like more towards the end, it felt like it just changed its mind and decided that it wanted to be a popcorn flick. There's this one scene in particular, not the final scene. I thought that the last scene in the movie right before the credits was great, but there was a scene right before that which I thought was way too convenient, and it was just silly as all hell. And I don't know, it just kind of broke the movie for me. It's not completely terrible or anything. I did think that No Escape was one of those movies that was worth my time seeing just once, and if you want to check it out, I'm not going to try to convince you not to do so because it is pretty decent. It's just, the ending kind of stops it from being a great film, in my opinion. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about No Escape. I hope y'all have a good one.